Hi, welcome to Surviving Motherhood. Right, got a question for you, an honest, serious question. Can God be trusted? Like when you're in a situation and you have a need and there is a perfect opportunity coming up for Him to answer in a way that you think would be appropriate and good and helpful. And so you pray and you say, okay, God, I trust you. Will you take care of the situation? And then you go through the situation and He doesn't do it the way you thought He could or would or maybe should have. Can God be trusted? I've been in that situation recently. And well, the bottom line is I think He can be trusted. I think you probably know that if you know me at all. But I thought it was so interesting that in the middle of me going through this, by accident, God would lead me to the story of Gideon. Are you familiar with Gideon's story? He's this little Israelite guy, doesn't come from a very big or powerful family, doesn't see himself as very powerful. And God asks him to lead his people against the Midianites. And he's like, no, wait a minute. You'll find his story in Judges chapter 6. The Lord turns to him and He says, go in the strength you have and save Israel out of Midian's hand. Am I not sending you? But Lord, Gideon asked, how can I save Israel? My clan is the weakest in Manasseh and I am the least in my family. Gideon doesn't think he can do it. He's in a situation where he's really uncomfortable. But the angel of the Lord says, hey, I'll be with you. Don't worry about it. So it takes a little bit of convincing. Okay, it takes a bit of convincing, but eventually Gideon agrees to do this. And he gathers up this great big army, and God says to him, you got too many. So send away some. What is it? He sends away 20,000 men. Somewhere it says that. And then, he says, so 22,000 men left while 10,000 remained. So he had 32,000. Maybe he was feeling confident, not just being him, but he had 32,000. But God sends away 22,000. Then He says, you know what? That's still too many. You got to send away some more. So they go through another process so that Gideon ends up with only 300 men to fight the Midianite army. So I'm thinking at that point, Gideon might be saying, God, can you be trusted? You said you were going to be with me, but I was thinking you meant me and my army of 32,000 men. And now it's me and 300 and it's all of them. And how is this going to work? And if you know the story, you know that Gideon and his men go down with just some torches and some jars and they make some noise and they defeated the army. God was perfectly faithful. God absolutely could be trusted in their situation, even when it didn't look like there was enough. And honestly, that is the situation I'm in right now. I'm in a situation where it doesn't look like there's enough. And yet, God is reminding me that He is enough. He has enough. And He can make it all work out. So, in my quest to pray and say, okay, Lord, there's this situation and you could make it work out, where I would see in my flesh that I have enough. And He's saying, no, Karen, if I did that, you know what? You wouldn't need to trust me. So I believe that God is putting me in a position where I have to trust Him, where I have to trust that He is able, where I have to trust that He's enough. So my question for you is, are you in a similar situation? Are you in a place today where God is asking you to trust in Him? Not to trust in the stuff, not to trust in what you can see, not to trust in your 32,000, but to believe that your little army of 300 will be enough. Can God be trusted? I believe the answer is yes. And I pray that today you will have the courage and the grace to believe Him too. Have a wonderful, Jesus full